Welcome to the Hasn't Been 3 Days podcast. You have your hosts here, Justin and BJ, and we talk about 3-day-old news, sports, and whatever else seems to catch our interest. You, the MVP listener, listen in, you laugh, you hate on our takes and opinions, but just don't tell us about it unless it's been 3 days. So, Justin, how are you? How's your last 3 days been?
Well, hello, BJ. My last 3 days have been awesome. It's been beautiful weather here, a little hot for end of September, and had a good weekend of just hanging out, watching sports, watched some football, a lot of football, and I watched the President's Cup. Had that on an extra TV this weekend while I was sitting around in my basement. So, what about you?
You know, my weekend was pretty good. I got back from my work trip and my luggage was not back, so I got to spend an extra day traveling back to the airport to get my bags a couple days later. But I got to see my kids on Saturday, had a great time, and we had some time with some friends and just a really good weekend. A great time with family and friends and people I love. So I will never, ever complain about that. So I'm thankful for that.
Yes, that's. If you complain about that, then we're gonna have some words about that.
That's true. Yeah, we don't need to have words because that will always be a given for me. So thankful for that, and we're going to talk to some of those family members later tonight, and I'm looking forward to that time as well. So it'll be good. But I wanted to spend a couple minutes just kind of recapping how the podcast is going and just saying thank you to our listeners. You've given us some stats here, Justin, and we talked about we are not influencers, we are impressionists. And so over the last 30 days, we have 820 impressions, and it continues to grow every single week. And I just want to say thank you to our MVP listeners out there. You know who you are. 47% of you are of the male persuasion, and 45% are female from our audience. So that's quite the breakdown.
Yeah, we're losing some of our females.
Well, I have a solution for that. If you're listening to the podcast, next week we have a very special guest joining us to bring in a woman's perspective to the podcast and a great connection that I'm thankful for. We'll introduce her some more next week, but we have a woman's opinion coming on the show next week. So tune in for that. A great opportunity to hear from one of our woman influencers, impressionists.
And she lists, and we can break it a little bit, break the news, but she is our connection to the WNBA.
She is, yeah.
So, yeah, we've nailed that. Oh, actually, I didn't do anything. BJ nailed down this interview, and we're looking forward to see what opinion she gives of maybe my horrible takes. Or
I don't think they're going to be too far off. I think it's just going to be good to hear it from her, and I'm thankful for my sources that helped us to land this guest, and we're only paying her double what we make every week on this show. So she's joined us, and it's going to be great. So
so this week I have to work for free. So that's great. Yeah.
Yep,
I mean,
the other stat on this, and so she's going to join us next week. We'll talk WNBA. We'll talk women in sports. We'll talk, teaching our girls about their what we want to teach them and bring them up and empower them to be great women in the future. So in the present as well. So I'm looking forward to that. So, but we also break down our demographic. 90% of our demographic of our listeners are in the age group of 35 to 44. So
I think we're doing. I mean, that's where we're at. So I mean. We keep good company, I guess.
I did get a social media but a message, a DM this week from an old friend of ours, both of ours, and a female listener, and she loved our interview with Nate. She just really raised, because she was just laughing about all the memories, because most of these stories she was part of. I won't mention her name right now, but she we can talk about it off air. She just really enjoys the podcast. She just says she sits there and laughs the entire time because she remembers many of these stories. So it was good to hear from her as well. So
yeah, you haven't even told me that yet. So
no, it hadn't been 3 days. It hadn't been 3 days.
We're holding true to the podcast, holding true to its name. Yeah, I'd be curious to find out. I'm actually kind of hoping maybe we end this podcast right now so you can tell me, but we'll get through that. So, but yeah, I'm actually kind of intrigued to find out who this is. But
yeah. And last week we talked about how we were in 4 different countries, and today you gave me some statistics that we're in 20 of the 50 states that our podcast is listened in. So again, we're trying to branch out. We're growing, and we're going to talk a little bit later about landing our first sponsor, and so this could be exciting. We could see this thing really start to take off. So.
Yeah, I don't know how everybody else does this in the world by getting a podcast to go off, but I mean, we haven't said anything controversial
yet.
Some podcasts, they have sexual topics, so that gets them popular. We're not doing that. So, I'm just curious how things take off, and obviously the sports realm is what things take off a lot. So, I like where we're in the middle of everything. We kind of touch a bunch of things. So,
well, and what I'm also hearing, not just from this one comment, but also other comments I've gotten over the last few weeks that we've done this, is people, even though they may or may not have known the stories that we're telling, the people that are listening love hearing us tell these stories and retelling these stories. And so it's really fun to reminisce. And like Brielle said when we started this was, she just laughs and everybody's laughing, and they're not laughing at us. They're laughing with us because we've had some great stories over the years.
And I just sit here and laugh. You could probably hear it in the background a little bit. I try to hold back my laughter so I don't laugh so much on the podcast. But every time I think a topic's going to come up, I'm already envisioning what that story is going to be. And then it's always fun to see that other side of how somebody else tells that story too. So those are entertaining. So.
For sure. I can't wait. We've had your brother on. We had your kids on. We're going to talk to my kids tonight, a couple of my kids tonight. So, but when my brother gets on, something we've talked about, as I'm a former pastor, he's still in the ministry and pastoring and preaching now. But as we tell preaching illustrations about stories we were both involved in, my dad talks about how when he listens to Brady preach and he hears the stories, he hears it from a totally different perspective, and we were all there, so it's kind of cool how we all remember different things. So
I'm actually, we got to lock down Brady. I mean, that dude, he's asking for so much money right now. I think his ministry needs to pay him some more because he's asking way too much for our podcast. So we're gonna have to get him nailed down here soon. So
he did just text me today, so maybe we can get him on the show here pretty soon. Yeah. So we'll get him on the calendar.
He needs to quit big timing us. He just needs to get him off the golf course. He's probably shooting under par now again, and go from there. I'm actually looking forward to his story about golf. I have a great story, a great memory of him golfing when he first started golfing, and I'm looking forward to see what he remembers of that. When we golfed at Wellington Greens.
Yeah. Almost hole in one
with a driver. Yeah. So I can't wait to hear his our golfing stories with him. So, but yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah, it's cool how our podcast is taking shape, and all just from a fun banter back and forth that maybe we should do this because it'd be kind of an outlet for us to do something different. So
yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of that, it's kind of cool that it's not the things that you mentioned that people are going viral for, but it's also not political. And if you're watching the news over the last 3 days, whether it's the storm, which I was on the edge of, thankfully I didn't get into the storm, but the devastation of the hurricane was pretty great. But other than that, it's politics, which doesn't interest either one of you or I. So we're not going to go there because it's just not. And actually, I have a clause in my work now that I'm not allowed to get political because of my position. So, hey, there you go.
I mean, it makes sense. It only, everybody's will just say you're right, and everybody will say you're wrong, and no one just seems to be happy. And um, there's people who get paid more than us who can have their opinions about that, and they can have the hate mail. I personally like my social medias and being able to be on it and finding news and seeing people. I don't want to get to the point where, we get canceled or something and we can never use those things. So that's kind of how I look at it. I like reading from both ends too. I like reading from all spectrums. So
yeah. So speaking of all spectrums, let's talk about the one news thing that we want to talk about. You found this article. Can you give us a little intro to this news article that we found recently?
Yeah. So the headline is a boy who was abducted from California in 1951 was found alive, living on the East Coast 70 years later. And you hear these stories, but the uniqueness of this is the kid was abducted, and then he was given up for adoption. And through an online test and photos and news clippings and stuff like that, the family was able to, find each other again. I think it was a brother. Real quick, it was a brother that ended up, finding his lost brother, and they reunited. 70 years of, as a 6-year-old, you probably remember something of your family, and then to just be taken away and then given up for adoption. And at some point, is it a memory that maybe did I really have that family? Did I not? That would be really hard. That's 70 years of pretty much not knowing you had anybody else.
Yeah.
Plus you were quote unquote you were adopted. So then you have another set of families, and potentially how your adoption went, you could have had multiple families. Yeah, I wonder, I know families and in yourself, and I think your opinion's going to come here in a bit about adoption and how what stories those kids do have. Sometimes you don't know their complete story. And you take them in, you love them, and it'd be really weird if 70 years later you're like, oh, we put up a kid who got adopted. I can't talk tonight, but anyways, so yeah, it's kind of a shocking little headline, but
it is, and like you said, it's something that there's a little bit of connection, not with this situation, but with the whole idea of adoption and fostering. Our family did that for a few years, many years, and we've adopted a son through that process. I've had a total of 7 kids, and 4 of those kids through adoption or through fostering and adoption. And one of the things you have to go through is you have to go through some training and all of these things to learn how to deal with the trauma that is in these kids' lives. And to read this headline and see that this kid was abducted.
There you go.
Stolen.
Good work. I can't say the word.
So the trauma that goes into that, and then not only that, to be taken away from your family, moved, I think it was across the country.
Yeah.
And then to be put up for adoption, which is even more trauma and more rejection, and who knows how much stuff was going on there. But then to read this article and to hear of his biological family finding out that he's out there, and then reaching out and finding him, and then he was just like, yeah, here I am. He's no big deal. But there is so much behind this. As I was reading that article, I'm thinking, there is so much not being said here, because how do you go 70 years and just be like, whatever? That just doesn't happen. Now, we've seen kids come through our home that, literally were just given a trash bag for their belongings, and that trash bag went with them everywhere they went. And your heart breaks as hopefully good foster parents and good adoptive parents. They're not in it for anything but those kids and those families. And so when you see that and you see the trauma that comes in there, there's so much more than just like, whatever. Usually that's never the case. And thankfully, in our situations, I can only speak about our situations. We've had the ups and downs of fostering and adopting through many different ages and different family dynamics. But thankfully, the trauma that we had to then help pick up and clean up, we were able to do so in a way that was beneficial for everybody, I believe. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for those opportunities. They were hard. I don't wish, if you're going to get into fostering and adopting, it needs to be a calling on your life for sure.
Yeah.
You need to know what you're getting into and do it for those kids, and know what you're getting into for your own family's sake as well. It's not for the faint of heart, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard your stories. We've had many conversations about the trials and the ups and downs of your fostering. I'm pretty sure I've met most of your foster kids at one point while visiting. So, yeah, you're right. You have to have a very special heart for that, because it does bring a complete different dynamic to your family, and having your whole family involved in the whole process, from a spouse to the kids to your extended family, because at some point in wherever that journey is, and like you said, you have one in your, one of them that was in your home is your family now, right? So that you don't know where it's going to end, where God's going to lead you to, be a part of that life, or where the adoption process will allow you to be in that life, and where those kids want to, as they get older too, where they want what they want too as well.
Right.
So.
Right. And yeah, I mean, speaking of our family and those things, I've got our kids going to join us tonight, and so let's go ahead and segue into that for tonight, and let's talk to our kids. Justin wanted the idea to have his kids on and my kids on. He wanted to do them all at the same time. We just couldn't work schedules out, so I want to introduce two of my kids, Emma and Elliot, and so we want to bring them on to the show tonight. How are you guys tonight?
Good.
Good, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you're with us. Thanks for being on. I know that I was talking to you a little bit about the podcast, and you guys, I wanted you guys to be on. We've had Justin's kids on. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Emma, why don't you tell us your age, your grade, and your favorite color?
Well, my age is 17. I'm a senior in high school this year, and my favorite color is like anything neutral or like earth tones. Yeah, it's probably my favorite.
All right. Elliot, how about you?
I'm 16, junior in high school, and my favorite color is like a sunset one.
Okay, so this can't be real. They can't be this old. These kids have always been really young to me, no matter how many years I've seen them. So now I feel really old, BJ.
Yeah,
really
you feel old. My oldest son's not on the podcast tonight. He's married, so yeah. How's that make you feel?
Yeah. Let's not get into that.
Yeah.
I remember when he was just a baby too. So, but well, welcome you two. It's exciting to have you guys on. I've been looking forward to having you guys on because we haven't talked in a while. Like, I haven't seen you guys in person.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably been, well, I don't know. When did you guys leave Illinois again? I can't remember the date, BJ.
We left Illinois and we came out here January of 21.
Okay, so yeah,
22.
Carry the one, doesn't matter, we're good. Some year. So yeah, it's been a long time, and we always have a good time when we're around. So my first question for both of you, and maybe whoever wants to go first, doesn't matter. What is one of your first memories of hanging out with maybe me or our family? What is one of your memories? Elliot, let's go with you. You have a memory that comes to mind of a fun time with us, or a fun story, or anything like that?
I don't remember much because I was little, because you haven't talked to me in a little bit. But I don't remember if it was Oklahoma or Missouri where you guys were over and Bree stole the Wii U when I was watching Netflix, and I was not happy. And I don't know why I remember that, but I do. And yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard that story, to be honest with you. And I'm sorry that's traumatic for you. I will have a conversation with. Do you want me to ground her?
No, it's okay. I'll be
Okay,
all right.
we won't do that. We won't do that. Well, and what about you, Emma? What's the first thing that comes to mind about a memory that you have hanging out with us, or maybe even me? Good or
Yeah, I
bad?
don't know if it's the first memory I've ever had, but it's definitely one that I don't think I'll ever forget. I think we had just moved to Missouri, and
Iberia.
yeah, and I had a dresser that needed to be set up, and us having two men in the house thought who better than Dad and Justin to set up a dresser that has instructions and shouldn't be too hard. And it specifically said, do not use power tools. And these geniuses thought, oh, I should use power tools. And I think
Because
that
it would go faster.
It go faster, 100%.
yeah, but
100%.
Okay. So then, let's just say that dresser did not last very long whatsoever. Yeah.
Okay, the dresser lasted long because it almost fell over and landed on you and crushed you because your dad forgot to anchor it to the wall.
Oh, okay. I don't think you're supposed to have to anchor a dresser.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Things happen. Life happens. We all learn. Yeah. I know, go ahead, BJ.
We've been through a lot. Justin and I, we've been friends almost 30 years, and my kids have always known everywhere we've gone. You guys have shown up and visited, and we've hung out, and so 30 years is a long time. You talk about the age of the kids and them growing up. But we want to talk to you guys a little bit about what's going on in your world and all that's happening there. I'm going to go back to Emma here. Emma, you had some exciting things happen. Do you want to share a little bit about what the next chapter of your life might entail?
Yeah, so I recently, last week, just got accepted into Northwest Nazarene University in Nampa, Idaho. And so right now, that's kind of my top, idea of where I want to go. Not quite sure what I want to major in or do, but it's still exciting. And I'm going to go visit NNU this weekend, so that'll be a great opportunity.
Awesome.
Nice.
And Emma is also an entrepreneur, and you can check. Why don't you plug your socials and so people can go check out your work?
Yeah, I have a little nail business. I think the handle is Nails by MCAF on Instagram. So come check me out. Follow.
If you're ever in the McMinnville, Oregon area, you can book an appointment right there on her Instagram page. Get into her DMs and check her out.
Yeah, I can tell you all the stories about Dad and Justin over the years.
No. You can save those for the podcast. You don't need to tell people randomly while you're doing nails. Nobody wants to hear those stories.
So I'm a little bit curious, though. We talked about your memories with Justin and Becky and their family. So, Emma, I want you to kind of help segue us as we talk to Elliot for a minute. What is one of your favorite things about your brother, Elliot?
You're muted.
Emma? Yeah, we lost.
Sorry, I dropped my phone and got muted.
There you go.
I think one of my favorite things about Elliot, and it's something that not a lot of people see if they just see him at school, because he's kind of a quieter kid, is his big heart. He's such a sweet kid, and I know that if I needed to talk to anyone, he might judge me a little bit. To be completely honest with you, he probably would make fun of whatever I'm saying. But I also know that he cares and is genuine and is one of my biggest cheerleaders, even if it comes in form of insult. So.
Yeah, that's called siblings. Yes, that sounds about right. That's what my house is like too. So.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing that, Elliot. Let's talk to you for a minute. You are a junior in high school, right? And we've talked a little bit on the show about your injury and your recovery time that you're going through. Tell us what happened to your leg.
Well, I split a tendon in my ankle, and I had surgery this past August, so I'm on the recovery side of that. And, yeah,
And what sports do you play?
basketball, track, and cross country.
Okay.
Okay.
So this has put you out for cross country this year. You said you just got released this week, though, to do some light activity. So you were at
Mhm.
practice today, right?
Yeah, I was. I biked with the cross country guys, and we went about 6 miles today. So, yeah.
You went about 6 miles. I haven't done 6 miles in 6 years.
6 miles is light.
Yeah. Well, I'm not light anymore, so it doesn't matter.
And what's the timetable for your return?
To like actually start doing stuff, it'll be like late November, early December. The next appointment I have is the 11th of November, and currently I can't do anything, so that's probably when I'll start doing stuff. Hopefully.
Yeah. So we'll get you back for basketball. What's your favorite sport to play and participate in?
Oh, definitely basketball. It's always been my favorite.
Good.
Yeah.
Tell us one of your highlights of playing basketball. One of the memories you have of playing basketball. Give us a good story about you playing basketball that you remember.
I don't know. Oh, I got two. I'm gonna tell two. One
Okay.
was I remember my first 3-pointer ever hit. Didn't count because it was. I remember this very clearly. It was during the halftime break in, I think it was Iberia. You were my coach, and I decided that I wasn't going to go to the huddle, and I went and grabbed the basketball and one hand threw that from the 3-point line, and I drained it, and the whole crowd went crazy because I was like 5. I don't know how old I was, but. And then another one would be the first like actual 3-pointer I hit. It was in Illinois during Crossroads, which was like a little separate league, and we were down by like 30, maybe more. And coach goes, "Screw it, you guys can start shooting threes." So the first play, I come down the court and I pull up and I bank a 3 in from the top of the key, and that was really fun. I almost won dessert that night because I almost got a triple-double. I do remember that as well.
That's true. So our kids have all played sports growing up. Emma, why don't you share with us one of your favorite sports memories of you playing sports, or any sport, including cheerleading?
Well, cheerleading is a sport, so I don't think you need to specify on that.
I know. That's my bad for mansplaining. I'm sorry. You're right. Cheerleading is a sport.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I thought. I did cheer for 4 years, and I think one of my favorite memories is this podcast PG? Like,
You just didn't know?
okay,
Everyone.
sweet. So
It's for
I think one
everybody.
of my favorite like team bonding memories of cheer is when we were on our small bus on the way to an away game, and we were really like thirsty, so we thought, let's go to the gas station and get drinks. So we get drinks, and most of us, we weren't allowed to drink energy drinks, and so we obviously got energy drinks because our parents weren't there, and so chugged energy drinks on the way to the game. But a couple of the girls thought it would be a good idea to go get condoms from the bathroom and blow them up like balloons outside the windows. So, I mean, that was a pretty good team bonding experience. But we were never allowed to ride that bus again. So,
Well, we'll have to talk to. Was this in Pittsfield? So we'll have to talk to your Pittsfield coach and make sure we get some repercussions for their.
I just want to say it was not me that got the condom.
Ouch.
It was not me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You only tell the stories.
Yes.
See, and then as the adult in the room, I was getting ready to ask a follow-up question, but I'm not going to right now.
Well, Elliot, we need to return the favor. I need you to tell me what is the best thing you love about your sister?
Ooh, I think she's just like a role model big sister. I mean, I can
Mhm.
always go to her for anything, ask her any questions. I can go to her with all my problems and she'll listen, even if she's going through something of her own. And then she also buys me stuff, so that's great.
Oh.
She
Yeah.
buys your love. It's good. It's all good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin, did you have anything for him?
Well, I just love listening to you guys talk. Like I enjoyed our times whenever I'd come visit. We would just sit around and talk, and we haven't had those in years, and so it's fun catching up with you guys. I mean, one of my favorite things is we used to always go find a place to go have ice cream, and there was this what was that place? What was that? You guys had a nickname for it, so I actually don't know what the actual name of it is in Pittsfield. But we always went to that place. I think it was like Harry something. I don't really know.
Harry Nipple.
Yeah. But we used to go there a lot, and we used to laugh because everybody said we should go to the Harry Nipple, and I'm like, what is going on in this place? But we used to go down there a lot. We used to, well, some of you would walk. Didn't you guys used to walk down there or ride your bikes down there a lot?
Mm-hmm.
And then, and I don't run or walk, so I drove. But yeah, just watching you guys grow up too. Your dad keeps me up to date on things, and I will agree with Elliot. There was a time where when things are not going great and I needed somebody potentially for my daughter to talk to, Emma was like, I haven't talked to your daughter in a lot of years. I'd be more than willing to talk to her. And so I do share that same thought with you, Elliot, that she is always there and stuff. And my son still talks about the times when he used to play video games in your basement in Pittsfield. You guys would sit down there and play. Like, we literally could never get him up from the basement. And Brenton was really little, so he always looked up to you. He was always running at your ankles, always following you around. So, but yeah, I love watching you guys grow up. I hope you know that I would do anything for you guys, just like anybody else. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been fun to kind of grow up with our families together and have these memories. But we definitely need to make more because it's been a long time.
Yeah, there's life gets in the way, medical needs get in the way, but we'll get those figured out. We'll get things going from there. So, but or we'll just all have to move to the same area. Maybe we'll just buy a big compound and everybody can have portions of the acres and we can just all live there peacefully. Not a cult, but
yeah. Be careful.
No, we don't want to get. Yeah. Speaking of cults, no, I'm just joking.
I too want to, before we move on to the next thing, I just want to say how proud I am of both of you. I tell you guys that every day, or try to tell you that every day. I love you guys. I'm so thankful for you. Thanks for tolerating your old man doing a podcast and coming on as a guest. I remember when Elliot surgery was the first day that the first episode dropped was when Elliot had his surgery. So Emma called me and she was excited to listen, and she's listened to every episode. We won't talk about Elliot and how much he's listened.
I was just going to ask Elliot, how many seconds have you listened of the podcast?
I don't know however many I was when I watched with Emma.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
We do a segment as we end our show every week on where we do picks, and so both Emma and Elliot are playing fantasy football in our family league this year. And Emma was so excited to pick. What was yours? Excuse me. Who was your first pick, Emma?
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Johnny Rodgers.
Elliot, who was your first pick?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. So those were their first picks this year in fantasy football. And Elliot and I talk about it a lot. And Emma chimes in and she's like, "Hey, I got a team too." And she's always asking me questions, and we have a good time with it. But let's pick some games. What we're going to do is give you 5 games that Justin and I pick. You tell us the winner. So we pick with point spreads. Do you guys want to pick with point spreads or just the winner?
What's the point spread?
So
How many points
I'll
are
tell
gonna
you.
score?
That's
I'll tell
fair.
you. So
I was waiting for that.
that's a good question. So
What are points in games?
yeah. So these are all football games. So some of them are
Okay.
college games, some of them are pro NFL games. So the first game is the Auburn Tigers at number 5 Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia is favored by 24 points. That means to pick Georgia, they would have to win by 24 points. So that's what points means,
Okay.
Emma. So Georgia's at home. They're favored by 24 points. If you're going to pick Georgia, they got to win by 24 points. Who do you want to pick, Emma?
I'll go Georgia.
Georgia to cover the
Yeah.
points. Good job. Okay,
Yeah.
Elliot, who do you
Yeah.
got in that game?
Who was playing Georgia?
Auburn Tigers.
Oh yeah, I'm picking Georgia.
Georgia to cover the points. Okay. The second game we have is one of Elliot's closet favorite teams, the Missouri Tigers, number 9 ranked.
Are you serious? Let's end this podcast now. Let's
And
end it.
This is another memory we didn't talk about. Justin took us to the red white game when my kids were little and in Lincoln, Nebraska, and put them up on the goalpost after the game. And my kids
Yeah.
still talk about that memory. But one of the things we did for Elliot for one of his birthdays one year is we went to the Black Gold game in Missouri when we lived there, and we sat front row. It was a whole different atmosphere in Missouri, but it was still fun for Elliot, I think, and yeah, it was a good time. So
And so he's a closet bandwagon top 10 fan now because Missouri's top 10. Okay.
do you have
I got
anything you want to say to that allegation, Elliot?
I don't really follow college football. The only
'Cause
reason-
I was going to ask you what the quarterback's name was, but maybe that's going to be too much.
the only reason I would know is from college football, but I'm a little past the current year, so
That's fair. That's fair.
So we got number 9 Missouri going to Texas A&M, who's ranked 25th. Texas A&M is favored by 2 points at home. So Elliot, who you got?
Missouri. It's
Missouri. Emma, what about you?
I'm going Missouri.
Missouri to win on the road. Good picks. Next 2 games are NFL games. So Buffalo Bills, I don't know if you have any of them on your fantasy football team. They are favored by 1 point at the Houston Texans. So Emma, I'll let you pick first on this one.
I'm gonna go the Bills, just because I know more
Bills,
about that
okay.
team.
All right, fair. Good pick. Elliot?
I'm going Bills. Houston's
Bills
struggling.
too. All right. You guys are staying same on these. Good job. Next one is Cowboys. Justin's Cowboys at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are favored by 2.5 points over the Cowboys. Emma, or did you go first? So Elliot, you go first.
Steelers are gonna win that one. Dallas sucks.
Black and yellow. That's what he's going for.
Black and gold. Emma, what about you?
As much as I want to say the Cowboys for my DCC girls, I gotta go for the winning team and say the Steelers.
What?
Okay.
Unbelievable.
All right.
We're gonna have to edit this podcast out.
Edit
pretty
this
good.
part out.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of edit time. I'm never gonna get to bed tonight.
We'll see what this next game is before
wait,
we really
let-
have to edit.
Yeah,
this
I
one,
get
so-
to ask this question because
Okay,
this is
you
the
can
fifth
go
one.
with this one. Yep.
So, okay, Nebraska is playing Rutgers, New Jersey, the Scarlet Knights, but Nebraska's favored 6.5 points. Emma, who do you got?
I'll go Nebraska.
Okay, good call. Elliot?
Yeah, I gotta give it to fake Pat Mahomes and go Nebraska.
That's right. Fake Pac Mahomes.
See,
You know what?
I have raised them right.
You have, yes. And Dylan's had that haircut before Patrick did, so we're just gonna save that one for later.
Well, good. We will let you guys know how you did on the picks, and just really appreciate it. Do you have any parting words for the world to hear? Emma, do you have anything you would want the world to know?
I don't know that you should give me that freedom.
Go ahead.
Well, it's our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Here, Elliot, go first. I'll be thinking.
I don't got anything.
Elliot's
Yeah.
got nothing for any deep thoughts with Elliot. So, Elliot, I appreciate your time, bud. I love you. I'm glad you took the time to join us tonight. Thank you for doing this for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
Emma,
thank you.
did you think of
Okay, I have
anything?
a question for you guys, and it's my iconic question. So there's two parts.
Oh no.
I think Dad's already answered this, but I don't
Okay.
remember what his answer was, so we're doing it again. So, would you rather fart
Oh,
or burp
jeez.
glitter? And what would it either be like rainbow glitter or mood changing glitter, depending on your mood? And if you like want to fart it, it goes through your pants, and if you burp it, it comes out your mouth. Like you can't like hold it in.
Okay, well, okay. I'm taking this farting in mood because I think your farts can tell what mood you are in.
Justin, that
Ooh.
is my answer, and literally no one ever picks it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I do.
I
You
think
fart
I'm-
glitter right now?
What?
Oh.
That's
Jeez.
cool though.
That's a good question. That's a good question for the world to ponder, and I think it's good that we all answer it. So I'm gonna actually go with Justin too, and you, Emma, and say, I think if I'm gonna let the world know about my mood, I'd rather fart it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can have really good ones and you can have some really nervous farts and you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you're squeaking one out though, that glitter might hurt.
Yeah.
at
Just
that point,
saying.
you have more of an opportunity to hide your glitter because if you're sitting on your farts, then your glitter's not going very far. Whereas, like, if you're talking or burping, it's going to come out of your
Mhm.
mouth. And so,
Emma, you just took us down an incredible rabbit hole.
You're
So,
welcome.
but yeah, thank you, Emma.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm so proud of you guys, and thanks for listening, Emma, and for supporting your old man. Really appreciate that more than you even know. So,
Well,
love you
I
guys.
have
Yeah.
one last thing.
Yeah,
No.
Me and BJ have been talking about sponsors. If you guys had to pick a sponsor for this podcast, who, Elliot, you're going to go first. Who
Oh,
would you
shoot.
want us to go after first?
hold on before they
Oh,
answer.
hang on a second.
I want to ask for the official first request.
Oh,
I think we should ask the LLC Nails by MCATH to be our official show sponsor.
hang on. Does she pay taxes?
No, I don't.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. So since she pays taxes, okay, we're good. I got you.
Hmm.
All right. Nail some podcasts. Okay.
All
I'm
right.
good with that.
Go back to Elliot. Elliot, what do you say? Who should be our first sponsor?
I didn't have any idea, but I think Emma could sponsor you guys pretty well. So
No.
I'm gonna have to go with the same answer, safe
Well-
answer.
Well, you're going to go with Emma as the answer, and then Emma's going to give us a different answer.
Yeah, so
That's what we're doing on this podcast.
I gotta say, first of all, I'll only sponsor you if you let me paint one of your nails, Dad.
Oh, I'll let you paint my pinky now.
Okay. Come on down.
Yeah. I used to paint my. Does BJ remember this? I used to paint my pinky nails silver.
At least it's not
When I
black.
played
so
basketball.
That's good. At least you weren't like an emo kid.
No. You guys wouldn't want to hang out with me.
No.
But I do have a sponsor.
Well, okay, go ahead.
I would like you guys to be sponsored by Red Bull.
Ooh, they give you wings,
Yes.
and they spell wings with multiple I's. Ugh. Okay, we can go. We'll see what we can do. All we do is send an email.
That's true. That's true. We'll give it a shot.
Oh,
No.
one last thing about sending emails. Emma, here's a hack for you too. Have you seen this hack where you send your graduation invitations to big corporations and they send you presents for your graduation?
Yes, I will be doing that. I want all the
You
free
should do
stuff
that.
I can get.
Red Bull.
Yeah.
Red Bull.
You and then slip in there and be like, my dad has a struggling podcast. Will you help him?
I got you. I got you.
Okay, we're not struggling. We're not
Oh, yeah.
struggling anymore.
No, you're right. We're not.
We just
struggling.
need to get some notoriety, and I think Nails by MCATH partnered with Red Bull. The show could be, it could be the studio, could be the Wings studio. It could be. I could see this working.
Yeah,
man.
me too.
Yeah, I think we're on to something.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
think-
Well, those are good ideas. Thank you guys for your help, and again, thank you for joining us, and thanks for being on the show with us
Yeah,
tonight.
thanks for having us.
Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you.
love you guys. We'll
All right.
talk to you soon.
Love you too.
All right. Thanks
Love you.
again, both of you, for coming on.
Yeah.
and I'll find time to come see you. We promise.
Okay, good.
We promise. So,
Good.
all right, you two behave.
Okay.
We won't.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, so we got Emma and Elliot's picks for the games, and they wanted to be a part of that. We're so glad that they joined us tonight. I'm so proud of them. Thankful for them being on the podcast tonight. But let's move into our picks this week, Justin, and our predictions. Last week, to give a recap, Justin, you had a great week. You went 4-1. So if you're betting games with Justin, you were winning.
Which one did I lose?
You lost the Oklahoma State K-State game.
Oh.
So
yeah, because I thought K-State wasn't going to be very good because they played so bad against BYU.
Yeah, but that was a skunk of a game. So
yeah,
everybody lost that game last week. Well, I was 2-3 last week, so I have a record of 12-13. If you're betting games with me, you better stop. And thankfully, with Nate joining us last week, Nate was 1-4.
Oh,
yeah.
And
so, you know.
Yeah, the only game he got right was the Nebraska game, didn't he?
No, he had picked Purdue
he
in the
picked
points.
Purdue in the points. That's
so
right.
He got the Mississippi State point spread correct, just like you did. So
yeah, we're gonna ban him from the family.
So let's go into these picks. The first pick, I have the highest point spread in college football. It's not the highest, but it's the one that's closest to the highest that makes sense. SEC conference games are in full swing. Auburn at number 5, Georgia, a 24-point spread. Both Elliot and Emma picked Georgia. Justin, you got any take on this? Who you picking?
Yeah, so I don't think Georgia's going to make another mistake and let another Alabama team get ahead so far and have to play a little catch-up. I think Georgia's going to win, but 24 points. I think I'm going to go War Eagle on this because I think they're going to be Georgia wins, but I think they're not going to cover. So yeah, that's where I'm going to go with this. I think Georgia's still going to. It's not going to be late in the game. They'll get a few extra last minute touchdowns or something that will bring it closer back in. So.
Fair enough. This is the problem with gambling, and we're not putting money on this. We're putting food, probably Runza's, or if you come out here, it's going to have to be something else. But
Runza or Valentino's.
We said pizza. We said pizza.
We said pizza. Yeah. We said pizza.
So I'm going to go Georgia, and I'm going to say they cover because just to your point that they're not going to let another Alabama team do anything to them. I think they're going to blow them out. Auburn's not very good this year. I could see this being 24. The experts are right. 24 is probably a good line. It's going to be right there, close to it. I'm going to say 24 to 27 points, but Georgia covers in that one. So
all right.
I'm going with that one. The next game we pick is number 9, Missouri, on the road at number 25, Texas A&M. Texas A&M is favored by 2 points at home to the undefeated Missouri Tigers. Again, conference play gets dicey. Missouri's got a great receiving core, great quarterback.
Even though Elliot can't even tell us what quarterback.
Well, here's what he didn't tell you is so he and I started playing an online dynasty on college football, and we picked 3-star teams, and then his offline dynasty while he's waiting for me to catch up in the season. He chose to take Missouri.
Okay.
And so he won the national title with Missouri, and he's just raved about the receivers and their quarterback. And yeah, he doesn't remember him because he's beyond that first season. But so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, because they're not favored, even though they're higher ranked, I'm going to say Missouri in the upset, and Missouri wins this game.
Yeah, and I think this is only 2 points because this is on the road. You have to play in a hostile environment. With Texas A&M. For selfish reasons, because the AD is former AD of Nebraska, is the AD at A&M, and he just kind of upleft us and just walked out. Yeah, I think I'm just going to use that against A&M, and I'm going to pick Missouri. I think I'm going to go with Missouri, too, with the upset.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
2
there we
points
go.
is hard to say that they're not going to cover because,
Right.
I mean,
Well,
that's
Missouri's
it's
the
just
better
a
team.
pick 'em.
They're higher ranked.
just
It's a pick 'em game. You're right.
It's a pick 'em,
It's
yeah.
in College Station, so the 12th man will be high and mighty there. So
And I can't even remember if that game is, not that this is going to change my pick, but if that's a night game, which I don't know what time it's at, but that'll be crazy if it's a night game, to be honest with you. Like, I would just watch football. I would watch that game just because. And no, it's an 11 o'clock game, so
Okay.
11 Central. So I don't know if it'll be what they call it now, what the kids say. It'll be lit. It won't be so lit yet. So
yeah.
but
All right. So the next game we're going to go to the NFL for 2, and then we'll come back to college on the last one like normal. But I picked a couple games here that were of interest just because of the teams and the records. For the first game, we got the Buffalo Bills at the Texans, Houston Texans, but the Bills are favored by 1 point on the road. So I'll go ahead and go first again if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I think the Bills are cruising right now. I think they're finding ways. I think Josh Allen is like the modern day Brett Favre. He's going to throw the late game pick. He's going to run and he's going to get blown up and fumble the ball occasionally. But he's also going to lead the team when it matters, and they are cruising on offense right now. I'm going to take the Bills in this game against the Texans.
But cruising on offense, and they just scored how many points against the Ravens the other night?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the Ravens kind of shut them down because the Ravens ran for 3 million yards on them and just kind of controlled the game on the ground for sure. But
Yeah, okay.
You are right about that. True. Before the Ravens came in there and kind of shut them down, they were kind of cruising. And I think the Texans are in a slump too. So
Edgar Allan Poe said, "Quote the Raven, nevermore."
I don't know. You're the scholar learner in this group.
Oh
so.
yeah, okay, yeah, no. So you're going Bills. It's at the Texans. I'll go opposite you. I'll go Texans.
Okay.
Texans win this game.
All right.
Yeah, they need to show up. Texans need to show up.
Well, that's good. Yeah, we're opposite on 2 of the 3 so far. The fourth game is your Dallas Cowgirls at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
I picked this game because the records are similar. They both need to keep the fire lit. Steelers are favored by 2.5, so it's a pick'em game at home. I do not like the Steelers right now, so I'm going to pick the Cowboys just because I don't want to see the Steelers keep winning.
You don't like the fact that the Steelers are winning because they're winning with a quarterback that everybody kind of gave up on. And
he came in as their backup because their prima donna quarterback in Russell Wilson is why I don't like him.
yeah.
Is a backup that his career's probably over. Justin Fields has been reborn in Pittsburgh, and they love him there. He's a Pittsburgh kind of guy, just that blue collar mentality. Always got a chip on your shoulder. So I think Russell Wilson's career's over, in my opinion. He can ride the bench and be ready as a backup, but he's done as a starting quarterback.
I would probably agree with you with that. I think now his career and his contract will be a backup to Justin Fields just because of the way he's playing.
Yeah.
Now, selfish reasons, I want this game to be like a shootout, like 100% shootout because I have Justin Fields as a quarterback in my fantasy. I do not have the Cowboys in any of my defense. I haven't checked to see if anybody who I'm playing this week, if they have the Cowboys defense, because that would be good. I'll take a shootout, and I will take. I'm going to take the Cowboys. I think they win, and I'm going to say their kicker is the Cowboys kicker. Aubrey is going to kick like a 60. I think he's going to kick like a 61-yard field goal, and that'll make a difference at some point in the game.
Okay,
so
sounds good.
That's where I'm going to call that right now.
All
I don't know why, but
61-yarder. Put it on the board.
Put it on the board. We'll see if it happens.
Put it on the board.
He'll probably be on injured reserve this week too now, so whatever.
All right. Bring us into this next game like you did with the kids.
All right. Well, Nebraska is going against Rutgers of New Jersey, the Scarlet Knights. Huskers coming in, coming off of a very interesting game last weekend. Man, that was a tough game to watch. But the Huskers, they're going to be at home against a team that doesn't have a very good rushing offense, but our defense needs to step up. Nebraska's 6.5-point favorites in that game. I'm sticking to my guns. Like, Nebraska is literally 4-1 against the spread this year, and I think I'm gonna stick with that. The spread is 6.5. I'm gonna say Nebraska wins by 10. I just gonna go with it. Nebraska needs. This is that game that, with the records the way they are, Rutgers being undefeated right now, I think it'd be a really good win. Just because Rutgers played on national TV last Friday against Washington, I think it'd be a really good media win where everybody's like, "Well, they beat a 4-0 team, right?" So, this is that scary game at the beginning of the year because of the Rutgers coach. He has had a track history of winning games or special teams, and special teams stink right now for Nebraska. So it's just we're gonna have to get behind. Being at home is if this game was out at Rutgers, it'd be a completely different story, especially if it was at night. This game being at 3:00 in the afternoon in Lincoln, beneficial. So that's where I'm gonna land, but it's gonna be. We're gonna have a fist fight. It's gonna be a fist fight. So,
well, I think you're probably right to some degree. And as my dad said, and as the old man on TV says, not so fast. And I say that because, so correct me if I'm wrong, the Rutgers coach was the Rutgers coach that coached there prior to, won a bunch of games and went to a bowl game and got Rutgers back on the map because Rutgers is not a football school and all this stuff. But now he's back. And so you're right. To your point, he knows how to win at Rutgers, and that's a huge thing. However, there is a difference between Rutgers football and Nebraska football. And I'm not saying that as a homer that says, oh, Nebraska like the good old days in the 70s. No, I'm saying the culture at Nebraska is switched. And as I said last week, Rule would have his guys ready to play on the road for the first time this season at Purdue. And he's teaching them how to win. He's teaching them culture. And yes, the first half was hard to watch. But I turned the game on in the fourth quarter, and I thought, man, this team looks great.
Yeah.
and the fourth quarter, they dominated. They were the old Nebraska. They were the Matt Rule Nebraska, and they got the job done.
Yeah, and the game was just hard to watch because we'll all complain about officiating, right? It just was like every 3 plays, it was a flag in the game. You just couldn't get traction.
Sure.
Nebraska special teams obviously is what, you take away points and phantom PI, pass interferences on a touchdown pass. That game is completely different in that case. And I think that's just, from a Nebraska fan, I think that just makes that game man, that first half was just a drag. On top of the fact it was 0-0 too, on top of it.
But then you think about it, though. Think about the culture in that.
Being
0-0 and being in a drag kind of game, the coaching staff and the culture that's being taught there and being implemented is a culture that says don't give up.
Correct.
And in that second half, especially in the fourth quarter, the way the defense gets the pick six, they come back. I mean, they didn't give up. Whereas the week before when they lost, they gave up.
Yeah, it's just they're snake bitten a little bit, right? They're just like, oh crap, this happened again, or it's happening again.
Yep.
And a lot of the players said, after the game last week, they always go into halftime thinking it's 0-0, no matter what the score is. If it's 42-0, Nebraska's up, they go into halftime thinking it's 0-0, and that's the mindset they've always
Nope.
that they say.
No.
And this, what do you mean, no?
You can say that all you want, but Colorado game was a testament to that. You're up 28-0 at halftime.
Correct.
And I texted you. We talked about this. I
Yep.
texted you. You've got to come out of halftime, and you've got to. If you're acting like it's 0-0, then you put your foot on the gas and you keep going. And they laid a goose egg. So
Yeah.
that's a culture thing too. You can say all you want, but until you go and act that out, and your walk matches your talk, it doesn't matter what you're saying.
Well, and
You
I
gotta
think
go out and win
that's
football games.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the piece is just, being able to talk about what you should do in culture and then going out and actually doing it, performing it, so your kids can see it actually works, and the kids that you're coaching, I think is big. But it was something that was said. It's like, because they said, well, we always talk about it being 0-0 at halftime, and actually it was 0-0 this time, and so they came out and they're just when you look at stats would tell you like, yeah, we didn't really have that bad of a day from a stat standpoint. It's just all the little things that can lose you games, like special teams, is where I think a lot of Husker fans are just like, let's just never kick. Let's just have our punter just drop kick it like Flutie did, and over. I think that's still legal, so we should just do that. So.
Well, and again, it goes to those places we've both been saying the same thing, just a different way. I mean, you got to back up what you're saying.
100%.
And
yep.
I thought of a story as you're telling that. I ran track, and I ran the 800, and I was running in this race at the state meet once, and the first lap, it's just me and this kid neck and neck. Everybody else was behind us, and this kid was faster than me. He was ahead of me. And we're coming down the straightaway at the start-finish line for the second lap, and I can hear his dad in the stands yell, "He's right on your tail!" And I'm not kidding. So I could tell, even at that age, that the way he was trained was, they're chasing you, they're right on your tail, even though he was always faster than everybody else. And the kid literally looks over his shoulder, sees me right there, and just turns it into sixth gear and blows me out of the water. And I thought, this is what it comes down to. If it's 0-0 at halftime and you're going to come out here with a fresh new game, then you need to come out here and you need to script those first 15. You need to come out and execute. Those need to be your best 15 plays. Your defense needs to be ready to go. And then, until you're going to do that, again, it's culture. We're saying the same thing. It's culture. And it's teaching it. It's implementing it. It's like Rules did when he kicked the media out of practice earlier this year. It's like, you guys have to perform. We can coach you. We can prepare you. We can lead you there. But you got to go out and do it. And now these players are starting to realize, hey, we got to go out and do it. And they are. So.
Yeah, it's exciting because my son goes, "Dad, we only need 2 more wins to go to the bowl game."
Yep.
And I'm like, that's all anybody wants. And we want more than that, but baby steps, baby steps.
Here's the thing. I mean, and I don't want to compare him to it because it's a whole different program. My dad asked me this a couple of years ago when I kind of started following the whole Prime showdown in Colorado, just from being from Colorado and stuff. But Rules done it a whole different way.
Yeah.
But Colorado, that first year under Dion, they went out and were 3 or 4-0 to start, and then they didn't make a bowl game.
Correct.
So Nebraska could, with this win, Rutgers is 4-0. They're coming into Lincoln. It's a 7-point, it's a 1-touchdown game. I think Nebraska, I'm with you. I think Nebraska wins by at least 10, because I think they come and play 4 quarters finally, and they show the media, they show the country, we are still who you guys said we were 2 weeks ago. And we still have this together. They can still go into Ohio State game 6-1, and hopefully give Ohio State a run. Ohio State's winning ball games pretty good right now, but Rutgers,
like really good, by the way.
Yeah, Rutgers should not be a lookover game.
No.
It could be a trap game based on the past, but I'm going to say Rules got them ready to play, and they win by 10.
Yeah, and I think he's going to give extra motivation because after this game is a bye week, so he can say, hey, guys, you put together all phases, the aspects of every game. Hey, maybe we get a couple extra days.
Yep.
And college kids like that. They like those extra days. They've been grinding, so.
For sure.
Having a bye week after this could be a perfect time. So, yeah, we'll see.
Oh, good.
So.
Good. Well, we know where you'll be watching this game then, and that'll be good. What else you got going on this weekend as we look ahead the next 3 days? What's going on?
This weekend, we have a quick trip out to the in-laws out in Kearney, about 2-hour drive from here on Saturday. So I actually will be at my nephew's birthday party. I will have to watch the Rutgers game on my phone and not on my bajillion TVs in my basement. But we're going to make a quick trip out there, and quick trip back on Saturday. I, as part of working at the church, I have to run sound on Sunday because our other audio guy, he's enjoying time in Canada is what I hear. So yeah, just get to fill in, and but I have to be here at the church, so it's gonna be a long day Saturday. We're gonna spend most of it on driving and sitting around at our birthday party and coming back. So it's gonna be a quick one, and then Sunday I'll probably just get some rest after church, and my son's got his football game, so and then run around. Kids got youth group, so it's about all I got.
Yeah. Has Brenton scored a touchdown yet?
No.
Nope. Okay.
No, he's doing really. I joked before I called him Speed Bump with him when he was on the podcast, or I joked that maybe my daughter gave him that name. But he is actually getting his head into tackling a little bit, which is kind of fun to watch. He's still kind of hesitant on it. He likes to, if the ball's not coming his way, he's learning to, and I take pictures during the game. I don't film the game, but I'll take pictures of the side of the field he's on and watch him, how he's progressing on the field. And I'll be like, dude, why you just stand there and watch this guy run right past you? Your teammate with the ball. I was like, if you would have just turned around and that guy that was standing right in front of you, you could have blocked him. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, it's just, those are all learning things. And,
sure.
And, so he's doing good with that. He's enjoying, blocking. He doesn't seem to miss very many assignments. I remember missing assignments in midget football and my coach getting after me and my mom wanted to come out of the stands and being like, don't treat my son this way.
Mm-hmm.
And, the old grabbing of the face mask and getting after you. But he's a student of the game. He likes to stand by the coach and take in what's going in and ask questions. And anything like me, he's probably saying, hey, I have an idea. Maybe we can do something like this. So he's a student of the game. So he does really well on that. So
cool. Well, awesome. Sounds good. Sounds like a good weekend.
So what about you? Are you traveling again? You going to Tahiti or something this week?
No more travels right now. We're getting ready for our big fundraising event for work. We got a couple more weeks before that big event. And so, if you're listening and you would love to support the ministry that I'm serving now, I'd love to talk to you. So you can find me on the LinkedIn, and that would be great. But I don't have much planned this weekend, so just be kind of hanging low and just enjoying life and trying to stay out of trouble, I guess. So,
well, that's good. And sometimes you need those days. And this time, at least, you're having them back at home and not just sitting around a hotel room.
Yeah, for sure. I will definitely watch some football and I'll check in with my people for sure. So it'll be a good weekend. It'll be pretty chill, pretty relaxed. So I'm excited for that. But like you said, we need those sometimes. So it'll be good. But awesome. Well, it's been a good week, and I want to just again shout out to Elliot and Emma for joining us. Thank you for being on the podcast tonight, Justin. It's been good to catch up, and we'll talk more about who my source is for the comments a little bit later. But this has been a great time, and good luck with your picks. Have fun with the in-laws. Tell everybody I said hey, and we'll catch you next week. So here's to a lack of communication of irrelevant aged news. We'll see you next time.
See ya.